Okay guys, Misty and I put together this video for you guys so you could practice on your gray white belt technique while we're closed, or for future people to practice when they're leading up to being ready to test for their gray white belt. So we hope that you guys are able to use this video to improve your technique, and we're hoping to see you guys on the mat soon. First one, butt scoots. So that's turning on your side right here and using your butt to scoot your butt towards your heel. And then you're rocking to the other side to do the same thing. One foot's close to your body and the other one's far out. The one that's far out is flat and the other one is on its side, on your ankle. And you're just scooting back and forth for the forward butt scoot. And backwards is the opposite. Your feet are in the same position, but you're pushing your butt away from your heel. And again, rocking from one side to the other for the backwards butt scoots as well. Then we also are going to be doing hip escapes. So for hip escapes, you're going to bring your feet close to your butt here, and you're going to rock from one side to the other. And keep your elbows in, not out at all, in close to your body. Rotate one side, and then bring your feet close to your butt again, and then the other side. And when you're doing hip escapes, you don't want to stay on your back. You want to go from one side all the way to the other side without stopping halfway on your back. All right. So again, hip escapes and knees and elbows, you're again going to be doing the hip escape part first. So you're going to turn, full hip escape, bring your foot close to your butt here, your top foot close to your butt, and your bottom one is going to kick underneath you all the way until your knees even with your elbows. And then you're going to pull your elbows back to your knees quickly here for the hip escape to knees and elbows. One more time on that. You're going to do a full hip escape first. Bring your foot back close towards your butt, your top foot, and your bottom foot's going to kick underneath you all the way till your knee and your knees, both your knees actually are even with your elbows, and then pull your elbows in closely here. Okay, then we're also going to do forward rolls. So forward rolls, you can start with one foot up, both feet up, or fully standing. You're going to tuck your arm in between both your legs and tuck your chin towards your chest here. Try to roll over your shoulder and your back for the forward roll. And backward roll, you're gonna rock backwards, just like that, like if you were just rocking back and forth here. And then at the last second, you're gonna turn your head over one shoulder or the other, whatever shoulder you wanna roll over. So I'm gonna roll over my right side, I'm gonna turn my head over my right shoulder. Or backward roll. If I wanna roll over the left side, turn my head over the left shoulder. But first rock back, then turn your head last second for the backward roll. Okay? And we also have backward roll to sprawl on the test. So that's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna do a backward roll first. And then after you do your backward roll right here, you're gonna sprawl your legs back for the backward roll to the sprawl. So looking to flatten out, landing flat. Here again, backward roll, kick your legs back, land flat for the sprawl portion. Okay? And then on the test is also a hip escape to a technical stand-up. So that's gonna be a full hip escape. So again, bring your feet close to your butt, hip escape, full hip escape, plant your foot in opposite side hand, and then rotate your other foot through till it comes behind you. And then the sprawl portion, dropping down, kicking the lead leg back. The sprawl. Again. Full hip escape. And when you're on your side, plant that same side hand, opposite side foot, rotate through, technical stand up, sprawl last. Make sure when you have the closed guard, you're using your legs plus your hands to pull the person towards you. A grip that we commonly use, and we're going to use later in this test, is the cross collar grip with the sleeve grip. Cross collar grip, 4 fingers in, sleeve grip, thumb in. And also using your legs, use your legs to pull the person towards you when you have closed guard. All right, that's basically closed guard. All right, next position, back mount or back position here. When you have back position, you want to have your feet hooked into the person's legs right here. And we often start off with the seatbelt grip here where one arm's over the shoulder and grabbing the wrist of the arm that's under the shoulder. So the one that's over is going to be on top here. That makes it easy for it to slip it right behind the shoulder blade for the rear naked choke, which we're also going to go over later on in this video. So back position, your feet are hooked in. If the person pulls off one of your feet here, hook it right back in. That's what you want to do to maintain the position. Hook the foot right back in. Okay, back position, back mount. All right, and then side control or side mount next. So going to be here. Now, the way we're having side mount or side control here is we're pulling up on the arm here, kind of turning the person a little bit on their side. Bring your knee really close to the person's ear, and then you're going to have that same side arm underneath their head and the other arm locking underneath their arm. So my arm's underneath her arm, but my elbow's really close to the hip on one side. I have my elbow blocking the hip, and on the other side, my knee's blocking the hip. And my other knee's really close to Misty, almost like it's touching her ear, in between her shoulder blade and her ear. And I have the gable grip locked up right here, almost impossible for her to move. So this is how we're gonna start side mount, and we're doing positional grappling, and this is what I want you guys to know for the gray white belt test about side mount or side control. All right, then full mount. Full mount here, in my opinion, probably one of the best jiu-jitsu positions you can have, especially for MMA when they're striking allowed. It's a really good position. It allows you to put your full weight on the person and makes it really hard for the other person to move. But so when you have full mount here, I want you guys to be mounted down low on the person. My chest is up too high right now. I want it down low, and I want my feet to either grapevine, hooking her legs this way, or also I can cross my feet underneath her here. And actually I want my arms a little bit lower, so it's not a bad habit to get your forearms on the mat here, because that's going to make sure that you're really low. And then if the person tries to bridge you, that's when you can, you know, post the hand out to keep your base right there. So full mount right here. Feet grapevining the legs, or crossing your feet to control lower body, and then using your elbows on the mat or your hands on the mat to keep your base with your upper body here. So. And remember, when you have the mount, you want to bring your knees off the mat like about 1 centimeter or so to put a little weight on the person. It doesn't look like a big difference, but Misty knows that it's a big difference. So full mount. Okay, so those are the main positions. Closed guard, side mount, full mount, and back mount that are going to be on the gray white belt test. So I want you guys to know those positions. Okay, guys, we're going to go over the sweep portion of the gray white belt test here. So starting with my personal favorite sweep, butterfly guard sweep here, you're going to have your foot hooked in as a butterfly hook on the side that's elevated on, and the other foot, you can bring it back close to you here for additional leverage here. If you want to leave it hooked in here, that's fine. Sometimes that makes it a little more difficult for them to, for you to sweep them. And then you're going to have a foot hook on one side, and that same side is going to have the underhook. So you want your underhook reaching back towards the belt and your shoulder close to the person here, just like this. And then you're going to have an overhook on the other side. So we'll show the overhook in more detail when we switch sides, but you're going to have the overhook clamped tight against you and your arm clamped tight against your own side here. And then you're going to elevate with your butterfly hook, fall to your side, not to your back, elevating up here, and then we're going to go all the way over to our knee hits the mat, swing the foot out here, so we end up in mount position here. Okay, so same thing again here. Now I'm on the other side. I'm going to have my left foot hooked in here. So left foot hooked in as a butterfly hook. Right foot here so it can pivot and give me additional leverage. I'm going to have my left underhook here reaching back towards the belt. My left shoulder is close to her. I have the overhook. Your head's always going to be on the overhook side here when we're doing this variation of the butterfly guard sweep here. So you're going to have your elbow clamping tight, no space here, clamping tight against her elbow and pinning her elbow against your side. And you don't want the space, because if you have space, you fall right here, you're going to shorten the sweep. So fold it in, you're going to fall down completely on your side, elevating over, finishing in mount position here. Okay, so that's the butterfly guard sweep. Next, we're going to do the scissor sweep. So scissor sweep, we're back in closed guard again here. And like I said, we're going to have the cross collar grip and the sleeve grip here. So cross collar, 4 fingers in, sleeve grip, thumb in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to unlock our guard for a second to bring our feet to the mat. and that's gonna help us to hip escape and cock our legs. That's gonna be one step. Unlock the guard, bring the feet to the mat, hip escape, and cock your legs. So when I say cock your legs, you want one leg outside of her leg, here on the mat, and the other leg, you want your foot hooked on the hip with your knee and shin across her in this fashion here. You're gonna pull the sleeve up towards your head here, and then scissor your legs, boom, and then come over to mount. So when you slide over to mount, stay flat here, and come over to the mount position. Okay, again, do the other side here. Have a closed guard. 4 fingers in, cross collar grip, thumb in on the sleeve grip. Gonna open up our guard, hip escape, and cock the legs. So we got one foot on the hip here, and the other foot on the outside of her leg right here on the mat. Pull the sleeve up towards our head, scissor the legs, stay flat, and come over to mount position here. You'll see this. Okay, and then the last sweep that's going to be on the gray white belt test is the double ankle sweep. So this is when you have closed guard here, and the person is going to stand up to break your guard. This is when you're going to use a double ankle sweep here. Boom. Yep, she stands all the way up. As soon as she gets a good posture, you're going to open up your guard here, here like this. Bring your knees together, hands on both heels, hips up, pulling, boom. And then when you come up, reach for the collar and come up sideways and around, like half circle up and then back to mount again. Again, here. Starting closed guard here. The person stands up here, boom, boom. You're gonna unlock your guard. And you wanna do this quickly because you don't wanna unlock your guard and then wait. So, come back down. You wanna unlock your guard and then right away use some of that momentum to get the sweep. So unlock your guard, that's gonna create some momentum to help you get the sweep. So she stands up here. Unlock, boom. Reach up to the collar and then come up sideways and around. If you try to come up sometimes here, straight up, it's easy for the person to get their guard back. But come up sideways here and circle around, you can get to mount a little bit easier here. Okay, that concludes the sweep portion of the gray white belt test. And now we're gonna go over the submission portion of the gray white belt test. So we're gonna go through the submission portion kind of one position at a time here. So starting with mount position first. So mount position. So on the gray white belt test here, we're gonna have the double collar choke and the Keylock and the Kimura all from mount. So we're gonna go ahead and go over those here. So Missy's already ready for me to get the Keylock on. She's already raised her hand, so she's already ready for the Keylock here. So say we're down here like in a mount position here. What we're gonna do here is reach for the wrist here, and then bring our arm underneath her arm, grabbing our own wrist. And we almost have it, but we need to get our arm on the other side of her head here. So we're gonna have our elbow right here in the crook between her neck and her shoulder right here. That's where we want our elbow, boom. And then we want our other elbow close to the mat. It might come off the mat a little bit, but you don't want to bring your elbow off the mat like this. This is not a proper Keylock or a proper Americana. This is not the way to do it. This is a mistake on the technique. So what we're gonna do is, we want the back of her hand to stay on the mat. So we're gonna pull her elbow like towards her hip, towards her own hip, and a little bit up towards the sky. Right there. For the Keylock right there. So again, here. Reaching over, grabbing the wrist, grabbing our own wrist. And on the Keylock and the Kimura, we want our thumbs and fingers on the same side. You don't want to be grabbing like it's a cup of apple juice. Like this, monkey grip. You guys should know already. Elbow in close against the neck and shoulder blade, like in the crook between their neck and their shoulder blade. That's where you want your elbow, right here, no space in between that and the person's body. And your other elbow close to the mat. And then pull her elbow towards her own hip and towards, to finish the Keylock here. So that's the Keylock. All right, why don't we go right into the Kimura. If her arm is bent the other way. So Sometimes this way, maybe she's trying to start to work a hip escape. She's pushing off, yeah, like this. Here, she's starting to push off here. It's a really good time to go for the Kimura. So we're gonna grab her wrist like it is a cup of juice at first. Pin it down to the mat, and then bring your other arm through and grab your wrist. So once you have both wrists, you're gonna switch to the monkey grip. So now you have the Kimura grip. It's a really tight grip. And then the way we're finishing, there's lots of different ways to finish the Kimura, but for the gray white belt test, we're just gonna focus on this one finish here from mount that we know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna post our head on the mat here. And you also wanna make sure that she can't grab something with this hand. Here, yeah, when you're actually doing the Kimura, push the arm out just a little bit like this and stretch your head out here. And that's gonna enable you with your head on the mat to be able to pull her, use her elbow, pull up on her elbow and her shoulder here to lift up her head, see that? Then I can step over her head and slide my knee under so that her head's right in the crevice of my knee right here. Then from here, I'm gonna put the weight back on her arm, and that's gonna help me put my other heel up here like this. And I want my heel close to her body, no space here, close to her body. Pull her elbow up towards your chest, or his elbow up towards your chest here. Boom, elbow to the chest. And then last thing, put her wrist towards her own head. It shouldn't take much right here. There's a lot of leverage right here, so be careful when you're practicing this. After you pull the elbow to the chest, last step is putting her wrist up towards her neck. It's only gonna be a little bit of a turn needed right there to finish the submission. So one more time here. Okay, I have the mount. I'm gonna reach down, pin her hand down towards the mat here, grabbing her wrist, pinning it down. I'm gonna get the monkey grip after I have my wrist and her wrist. When I'm just holding wrist to wrist right here, or hand to wrist right here, I'm gonna have my thumb on the opposite side of my fingers. Bring my arm through, under her arm, and grab my own wrist, and then now's the time to switch to the monkey grip. And use your grip to push her hand away a little bit so she can't grab onto something and save herself from being Kimura here. Hand on the mat here, forehead on the mat. Oh, and also here, guys, lift your foot up a little bit. That can help you to lift up her head. And then step over the head, slide your knee to the mat, and drop your shin to the mat so that her head rests right here in the crook of your knee. Put some weight back on the Kimura so you can bring your foot up flat here. And then last thing here, after you pull the elbow to the chest, just put her wrist towards her neck. So, foot to the hip, or tied up against her body, elbow to the chest. Last thing, wrist to the back of the neck. So for the Kimura. Okay, and then the double collar choke. So double collar choke here, you're gonna have the 4 fingers in, boom. And you want your hand in deep. If it's just shallow like this, if it's not far enough in, you're not gonna ever get a double collar choke from mount, unless someone just taps really easy to everything, then they might tap, but that's not the right way to do the technique. Slide the 4 fingers in all the way down to the back, so your back of your hand goes on the back of her neck, just like this. And you want the same thing on the other side here, just like this. Both sides, you're gonna have the same thing. 4 fingers in, nice and deep. You wanna keep your elbows in. You don't want your elbows out like in the movies. You're not choking somebody like this. Your elbows are in. And then what you're gonna do is pick her head up off the mat here and drop your head to the mat. So drop your head to the mat and then pick her head up off the mat here for the collar choke. So 4 fingers in, back of the hand on the back of the neck, both sides. Boom, same, both sides are the same. There's other ways to do this choke, but this is the way we're doing it on the gray white belt test. You're gonna drop your forehead to the mat and then look to pick her head up off the mat, keeping your elbows in and pulling her chest towards your chest for the double collar choke there. Okay, so those are the 3 submissions that we're going over from the mount position on the gray white belt test. So now let's all go to side mount and we'll go over the submissions that we're going over from there. So it's gonna be the same 2 submissions of the Keylock and Kimura, but now from side mount instead. Side control, side mount, same thing here. So you're in side mount. So when you wanna start attacking this arm, bring this other arm over so your elbow's against her head right here, and that makes it really easy to get this arm. Even if she's grabbing onto something, you can still get this arm, but we'll go over that in a second here. So what I wanna do, my elbow, again, same thing when you have mount, you want your elbow in the crook right here of her neck and shoulder. And then you're gonna be holding the wrist here and your own wrist. And then the same thing, you still wanna pull her elbow towards her hip. Boom. Just like that. And again, like I said, you're not lifting your elbow up off the mat and pulling your elbow straight up. It's coming more towards her hip for the submission here. Leave your elbows on the mat. Leave your elbows and forearms on the mat. Pull her elbow towards her hip. Okay, if her arm's pointing the other way, down this way, yeah, like this, down this way, or maybe she's trying to grab this arm or get an overhook or whatever here. Yeah, so then that's gonna be a better time to get the Kimura here. So what we're gonna do for the Kimura is grab the other way. We're gonna use the other hand to pin the wrist down, boom, to pin it down to the mat. And then same thing when we finished it from mount, our arm's gonna fish under her arm and grab our own wrist. And you wanna keep her from being able to grab her own gi or his own gi in this position, like she grabs in here. You want to be able to push her arm away so she can't grab anything when you're doing the Kimura here. All right, so and you want to keep her arm like at an L shape. So this might not be the best position for Kimura. This is going to be a lot better. If it's pinned in this way, she's going to be able to grab something. So if you keep her arm like at an L shape, it's going to help you get the Kimura. So just like this. And then from here, you're going to switch your legs. So you're going to drop your hips, and your leg that's by the hip is going to come up into the armpit. That's going to enable you to step up over the head. And then you want to put your foot somewhere that makes it easy for you to pull her elbow to your chest. If it's too far this way, you're not going to have leverage. If it's too far over this way, you're going to have to finish the Kimura a little different than what I'm showing right now. So step up like a little bit above her head, and then pull her elbow towards your chest. And then last thing after that, if needed, a lot of times you won't need it, is put her wrist towards her neck, last step. So again, here, you're in side control here. Bring your arm over here into this position, and then we're gonna grab the wrist, boom, pin the hand to the mat, fish our arm through, grab our own wrist. Then at this point, make sure we have the monkey grip, the Kimura grip with our thumbs and fingers all lined up on the same side on both of our hands. Then we switch our legs here. So my leg that's by the hip is gonna slide up into her armpit, almost like a baseball slide. And that's gonna make it easy to step this other foot up into the right spot here, which also makes it easy to pull her elbow to your chest. And last thing, put the wrist to the neck if needed. So, okay, so those are the two submissions that are gonna be on the test from side mount or side control. And then we're gonna go over the rear naked choke from the back position. So like I said earlier in the video, when you're in the back position, you want your feet hooked into the person's legs here. We're starting off with the seatbelt grip, and notice my arm that's over her shoulder is on top. If it's this way, it's fine for control, but it makes it a little bit more awkward when you're slipping in the choke. So from here, when you're holding the wrist, you can easily slip it behind the shoulder blade really easy. So we want the hand behind the shoulder blade, but not just behind the shoulder blade, behind the shoulder blade and up against the neck. So this is pretty good, but this is even better. We're putting our chin on top of it. We also went over finishing the one-handed choke, but we're not going over that for the Great White Belt test. And then to finish the choke here, so you're gonna have, your hand is gonna grab your bicep, and the other hand is gonna slide back behind the person's neck like this. You see it sometimes like this. MMA, that's with the gloves, it's a little harder to slide it in this way. Really, if this arm's deep enough, there's a lot of different ways you can finish the choke, but for the test, we're gonna do this way. This hand's gonna come behind the shoulder blade, all the way behind the shoulder blade. Our chin's gonna come on top of our head, the back of our hand right here. And then we're gonna slide this hand out so it can slide behind her neck here, and the choking arm's gonna slide to the bicep, and the other hand's gonna slide to the far side of her neck. So it's gonna start on this close side of her neck and slide all the way to the far side of the neck as the other hand slides to the bicep. Okay guys, so we're going over submissions from the closed guard here. So first we're gonna go over a double collar choke. And like I said, when you have the closed guard, you wanna keep the person close to you. So using your grips plus your legs here to pull the person in. So bringing your knees close to your chest will help keep the person close to you when you're using the closed guard here. So I have the collar and sleeve grip. That's a habit. You guys know we use the collar and sleeve grip for the scissor sweep. It's a good grip for a lot of different attacks in close guard. But for the double collar choke, you're gonna need to have the same grip with both hands. So I have this cross collar grip, 4 fingers in on one side, and the exact same grip, 4 fingers on the other side. And just like from mount, we want the back of our hand on the back of the person's neck. So if you're not in deep enough here, you're not gonna get the collar choke. Unless someone just taps to everything, and they might tap, but I want you guys to know how to do the technique right. So the back of your hands going to the back of their neck here, boom. And same thing on the other side. Back of the hand, back of the neck. You're gonna make a fist with both hands. And again, keeping your elbows in and bringing the person's chest to your chest, just like when you did from mount. pull the person towards you and finish the double collar choke here. So again, 4 fingers in on one side, back of the hand, back of the neck. 4 fingers in on the other side, back of the hand, back of the neck. Elbows together and pull chest towards chest to finish the double collar choke. All right. And then we also have the Kimura that we use from various positions. It's probably one of the best submissions. You can get it from more positions than any other submission. So it's a really good submission to know if you only know one. You're gonna have the cross collar grip and the sleeve grip again. So you're gonna use your sleeve grip here to push the person's hand out and pin it down to the mat. So push it down to pin it to the mat. And then you unlock your legs here, bring your feet to the mat so you can sit up really easily over the person here, wrapping around. And now my sleeve grip's gonna switch to the wrist grip. I'm gonna have both wrists, and then now when I have both wrists again, I'm gonna switch over to the Kimura grip with a monkey grip. And then to finish it from here, I want to, same concept, I wanna make sure she can't grab onto anything with her fingers here. Yeah, use your grip to keep her hand away from grabbing anything, keeping her arm bent in an L shape. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm on my right hip, I'm gonna switch to my left hip. So I'm gonna switch from one hip to the other. So as I switch here, boom, to the other side, I'm gonna throw my leg up the back, pinching my legs together here. You can lock if you want to, but at least make sure you're having your knees pinched together here. Her elbow again is close towards your chest right here. And then again, last thing, put her wrist towards her neck. So again, starting close guard here. There's lots of different grips you can set up the Kimura from. Let's set it up from the collar and sleeve grip because we're already used to using that grip. So you have the 4 fingers in, thumb in here. Make sure that you're gonna pin her, break whatever grip she has and pin her hand down to the mat, unlock your feet, and then the grip's gonna come over, around, through to grab your own wrist. And notice I'm switching from the sleeve grip to the wrist grip here. You're not gonna be able to finish the Kimura like this. Make sure you have a good solid monkey grip here when you have both wrists. Just go like this here. And then again, I'm on my right hip, I'm gonna switch to my left hip. If I was on my left side, I'd be on my left hip, switching to my right hip. I'm gonna go here, so like I said before too, make sure that she's not able to grab something with this hand. Yeah, keep the hand away. The elbow nice and tight right here. Switch from one side to the other side, and then throw your leg far up her back. It's gonna give you additional leverage. And again, keeping the elbow pinned tight to your chest. And then last thing, put the wrist towards the neck to finish the submission. Okay. Oh, all right. One more submission here, triangle. So again, we can use this same setup. And with many other submissions, there's lots of different setups that you can use to get the submission. And whatever setup that you use, the finishing technique is going to be the same. But let's just use the cross collar and sleeve grip here to set up the triangle here. So I'm going to use my sleeve grip here to stuff her arm down, almost like I'm doing a shot put. If you guys don't know what a shot put is, like you're pushing the arm down in here. Push it down in here, boom, and then let go of it. And lock your legs right up against your neck. You don't want any space here. You want to have your leg flush up against the neck and then locking right here. For the triangle here, after you lock here, this is a step. You can take your time right here. There's actually other submissions you can do here, so don't be in a hurry. But to finish the triangle, you're going to extend your legs and use both your arms. So using both your legs and both your arms to help get this arm across to the other side. So notice I'm reaching across to the wrist here. I'm going to push her arm across and pin it up against my leg. And notice I'm also folding my legs in towards me here. I'm using my legs a lot to control her here. You always want to use your legs as much as you can to control a person. So you can go here again. Stuffing her wrist down, locking over the shoulder here, okay? And now's my chance to use both my legs and both my arms. Notice one arm's coming to her wrist and the other one's coming right to her elbow, and both my legs are extended. And that's gonna make it easy to push this arm across to the other side. Push it across and smash it up against your leg. Here, then you're gonna block it and hold her neck. So this one arm's doing two things. It's keeping her arm trapped and it's keeping her from getting her posture here. That's leaving this other hand free, and I'm gonna grab my ankle. And I don't wanna grab my ankle, I don't wanna unlock my legs until after I grab my ankle or my shin. If I unlock my legs and reach up, she's gonna come right out. So reach up, grab the ankle, and then unlock your legs. And you unlock your legs here so you can bring your foot to the hip here, and that's gonna help you to pull the calf straight against the neck here. You don't want any space between your calf and her neck, if possible here. And you want your knee close to your foot already before you even try to lock up the triangle here. If you can get your foot close to your knee already, say it takes a couple of them, boom, you do it again, boom, pull until you can make sure that your knee's close to your foot, and then that makes it really easy to lock the triangle here. And then to finish the triangle, squeeze your knees together. And for you guys, you're not allowed to pull on the head for the kids in tournaments and stuff, so you can instead just pull right here on your own shin and use that to pull down their head. So again, starting close guard with the collar and sleeve grip, because the collar and sleeve grip gives us a lot of choices to use different techniques here. So among them, this triangle here. Stuff her arm here inside, boom, and then lock right over the shoulder here. Now both my arms are free to use on her arm. One's on the wrist, one's on the elbow. I'm gonna push that across. Notice how my legs are fully extended, and then I bring them in. As I bring her elbow across and pin it against my leg, I bring my legs in. Trap her elbow and grab her head. Now this hand's free. And I'm gonna grab my ankle, and now I can unlock safely, bring the foot to the hip, so that I can bring my calf straight up against her neck here. Lock the triangle and squeeze and finish. Okay guys, so we're going over the leg trip. So there's different ways you can do that, but for the gray white belt test, we're gonna keep it easy. We're gonna have the same grip that we used for the scissor sweep and also to set up the triangle in Kimura. So we're gonna have a cross collar grip on one side and a sleeve grip on the other side. So 4 fingers in on the collar grip and a thumb in on the sleeve grip. We're gonna pull the person close to us and step diagonally across to the outside of their leg. So what we're gonna do is pull the sleeve towards us and push the collar away from us. So kind of a push and pull motion while the leg's blocked here. And that way the person will pivot around. We've also went straight to the arm bar from that technique, but we're not doing that on the gray white belt test. We're just gonna do the leg trip here. So again, we're gonna have the cross collar grip here and the sleeve grip. We're gonna step diagonally outside the person and pull the person towards us, step diagonally outside of the leg behind their heel here, pulling the sleeve and pushing the collar and spinning them around your leg right here, just like that.